So my talk title this morning is Closer Than Breath. And we're talking this morning on the third chapter of the Science of Mind textbook. And in that chapter, I think Dr. Holmes has some of his most beautiful language. And he writes, "The farmer has seen the heavenly host in his fields. The child has frolicked with it at play. The mother has clasped him to her breast, and the fond lover has seen him in the eyes of the beloved. We look too far away for our reality. We look too far away for God, for our good." Now that's really a radical passage, and it doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention, it doesn't threaten. It simply whispers a truth. We are not alone. We never have been, we never can be. The presence that we are seeking does not arrive with thunder or spectacle. It comes softly. In Scripture, the writer says that he went looking for the voice of God, and he did not hear it in the earthquake. He didn't hear it in the fire. He heard it in a still, small voice. So softly, in fact, that those who are loud with certainty often miss it. People who are loud with certainty about their spiritual beliefs are often trying to convince themselves as much as they're trying to convince others. For many of us, the spiritual life is about trying to get God to come closer, to attract blessings, to earn nearness, to pray well enough that our good shows up. But that assumes that spirit is somewhere out there. And it really comes from a mistaken notion that we are not lovable. That created us has rejected us. That we're standing outside of Spirit's compassion. But the truth of the matter is that Spirit is closer to us than our next breath. We're never outside of it. Our great task is not finding God, but awakening to the reality that we are already standing in its presence. That what we are searching for, we are searching with. And one of the great spiritual misunderstandings is the idea that God or spirit or truth or reality is far away. It's out there somewhere. It's above, it's sometimes later. It's something we have to earn. And so we strain, we beg, we plead, we live in desperation, terrified that we're missing the mark. And then we point the finger at those around us that we believe we're in error. We look upward and beyond, and we live in fear that we're going to be judged and rejected. But the wisdom of the ages tells us over and over again, you're looking in the wrong direction. Christ said, the kingdom of God is within you. Not after death, not after perfection, not after we get it all together. Now, here, in this moment, as we are, the kingdom is within. Our prayer center is not an attempt to bring something nearer. It's not calling God down from the sky. It's a recognition of God within us. And yet the simplicity confuses us. Because if God is near, if truth is present, if love is already here, then the work is not finding it. It's allowing it to flow through us and living from it, no matter what the justifications to do otherwise. Dr. Holmes, he goes on to say, the arrogant have not perceived it. Now, he's not really talking about pride or ego. He's talking about resistance. It means believing that the truth has to be complex, it has to be hidden, it has to be difficult or exclusive. But spirit has never hidden itself from the sincere. It only remains unseen to those who are insistent on being right rather than being open. And wise people have understood this throughout the ages. They talk again and again about unknowing, about releasing the mind's need to control. The pure in heart are not morally superior. They're not pulled apart by fear or strategy or self-protection. They see simply because they're willing to see. And I love the passage that grounds the divine in everyday life, not in temples, not in special ceremonies, not in rituals. But Dr. Holmes talks about it in the fields, in play, in the arms, in the eyes. The farmer has seen it in the heavenly host in his fields. Now, anyone who's ever worked with the land or grows things understand that there's a reverence that comes from working with the soil, from watching growth emerge without your permission, without much help. You put a seed in the ground and it's going to grow. From knowing that growth is going to happen without worry or over concern. Life does not move towards us from a distance. Life moves through us as a thought, as feeling, as perception, as creativity. We do not experience more good by convincing the universe to give it. The farmer, he knows this, not as theory, but as reality. He sees it, he experiences it. It's there in front of him. And it all happens naturally, without him having to participate. The seeds come up. Dr. Holmes says the child has frolicked with it at play. Anyone who watches children play know that they are playing with an essence. That they assume they are loved. They assume life is good. They live in imagination. They live in wonder. And they don't ask if joy is justified. They don't ask if love is safe. They simply assume it. A baby is much like a puppy. They assume the whole world loves them. And this is how we should. We should just assume that love is everywhere, available to us. We don't have to earn it. We don't have to justify it. We are loved because we're children of God. He said the mother has clasped him to her breast. There's something holy about the nurturing of a mother. Not abstract. That's embodied love. The kind of love that shows up at 3 a.m. when you're dog tired, but your baby's crying. And you get out of bed to go to that crib. That sort of love cannot be explained by evolution. Science cannot explain that. And it points towards a spirituality that's beyond our comprehension. It points to the love of God made manifest. Dr. Holmes said about love, the fond lover has seen him in the eyes of its beloved. And this may be one of the deepest truths of all. To truly see one another without agenda, without possession, without fear, to glimpse the infinite. I love the Buddhist. They have a concept. They say if the closest you can be to seeing the face of God is when you look into a baby's eyes. Because that baby has the last thing that soul does before it comes to earth, it's envisioning, looking at the radiance of God. And so when you look at a baby's eyes, it's like looking into a mirror, reflecting back God's face. Now, the most deepest truth of all is for us to see one another without agenda, without possession, without fear, to glimpse the infinite. Love is not something separate from God. Love is God. Love is God. I saw a video this week, and it was really amazing. It's about an older gentleman, and he's living with dementia. His wife has passed, and so he lives alone in a little modest house. His daughter checks in and cares for him. Next door to his house, there's a daycare. And each day, the daycare lets out the children so they can play outdoors. And each day, the teachers go out to talk with him because he comes and he plays with the little guys. And each day, they have to reintroduce themselves to him because he forgets who they are. And so every day it's the same thing. He reintroduces himself to them. They introduce themselves to him. He has dementia so that he cannot even recognize his own self in pictures from his past. But every day at 4 o'clock, he knows to go outside to play with the children. The teachers tell the kids, his mind isn't working so well, but his heart is thriving. Love is how God recognizes itself in the physical plane. Love is the greatest power we have, and it can break through any wall of anger and turmoil and distrust. We have nothing to fear when we're walking with love. Dr. Holmes says we look too far away for our reality. And we're trained to do this. We look to our future for our happiness, peace and resolution, worth and achievement, belonging and approval. But the great teachers have turned us back again and again towards just practicing the presence right here, right now, as we are. The moment we stop searching for Spirit is the moment we start seeing with Spirit. Now, I know this isn't one of the easiest things to do right now, especially in our nation. It's hard to see the power of love with the mayhem we have going on our street. And to ask, well, where is God in all of this? And what am I to do? And I don't have an answer for you. I don't know. I think back on history, and you think back on Lincoln, and in the middle of the Civil War, where thousands of people were slaughtered, and the nation had torn itself apart. But he said that we could bind up the wounds of our nation with animosity towards none and generosity towards all. New thought, it teaches us that love is not absence, and it's here now in this moment, and that we can use it to express. Life does not move towards us from a distance. Life moves through us, through thought and feeling, perception, and creativity, through our hearts and souls. We do not experience more good by convincing the universe to give it to us. We experience more good by becoming aware of it already unfolding, looking for it, participating in it, becoming more of it. Don't pray for a blessing from God. Be the blessing from God. Not passive, but active in our hearts and action. The unseen guest does not force its way in. It waits for our recognition. It waits for our receptivity. It means prayer is not asking God to arrive. Prayer is quieting the mind long enough that it can notice and see and witness the Spirit has never left us. So we're not being asked to strive harder. We're being invited to soften our hearts. Not to stand on one side of the embattlement or the other, but to stand in the middle and to hold out a hand to both sides, to see both sides as children of God. Now, believe me, I am not so deluded to think that this is easy work. but it is our work to do. To stop looking for love and compassion and kindness, and to become love and compassion and kindness right where we are, right as we are. And even to those people we don't think are deserving of it, particularly to those people we don't think are deserving of it. When we do, we'll discover we're standing in that power the whole time. We will understand how strong it is. That God's love is stronger than any hate we are seeing before us. God's calmness and compassion is stronger than any turmoil that's raging around us. I had a wonderful friend in the interfaith movement, Reverend Ron Stafford was his name. He was the minister at Mount Moriah Church. And he happened to be one of the young men or one teenagers that participated in the Children's March during the Civil Rights Movement, and where they marched from Lincolnville to Constitution Plaza. And they lined those kids up, and they knew that there was a whole mob of angry, vicious men waiting at Constitution Plaza to beat those kids to a bloody pulp. And they told those kids, they said, we know what you're marching to. They will kill us. They're just going to beat you. And we got to do this because we can't keep living on in this situation. So they told those boys and girls, they said, you keep your hand on the person in front of you. You keep your head down. You do not fight back, and you keep marching on. Those ministers sending those kids into that battle, knowing and having a trust, having a faith that there was a power greater than the hate that they were facing, knowing that love could overcome all that anger and turmoil and viciousness. This morning, if we're going to survive as a nation, we're going to have to place our faith in a power greater than hate. We're going to have to keep our hands on those marching with us. We're going to have to keep our eyes on the glory of God. And we're going to have to know that the power of goodness is closer to us than our next breath, and that we will never walk alone. God is with us, and there's a destination for us all, a new heaven and a new earth where sisterhood and brotherhood break out and reign over us all. This is where we're headed, and we will not be turned back. It's the truth in my life this morning. It's the truth in yours, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.